Guys, how's it going? It's like my Family Guy trousers there, for them, just for Carl, just for Woodland. I know he likes his SpongeBob SquarePants trousers. Anyway, sorry if I feel a bit knackered. I've had quite a fucking day. I've been knocking out the fireplace in my new house. Basically it's an old style house, and the brick is a brick fireplace, runs right along one of the walls, and it's about 4 feet high. So I had to knock that out. 264 bricks, and I've had to knock them all out individually with a chisel and a hammer. So I'm pretty fucked. I'm sweating, I'm just at the shower. It's been a long day. But anyway, I promise you guys my moving house pickups, so that's what I'm here to deliver. So during the last few months where I've been moving house, I have managed to pick up quite a few things. Managed to sneak a few things past the wife without her realising. So I'll just show you, I won't show you obviously everything, but I'll show you some of the highlights, what I feel are the highlights. First thing I'd like to mention is something I don't think a lot of people talk about. It's magazines. I mean, I'm sure everybody reads Retro Gamer. I certainly do every month. A great magazine. But another magazine that kind of covers retro is Games TM. I don't personally buy it. I just read it in Asda's when I'm wife's doing the shopping. I just go read the back pages because that's where the retro is. There's only around, I don't know, 16 pages or something. But it's a good read. And every so often they release these. The retro micro games action. It's like sort of like an annual, I suppose. I'm not sure how often they bring them out. Every 6 months or something, but it's basically 200 odd pages all about retro games. It's basically just all the articles and that they write in games, they collect them together and put them in this. So it's really worth picking up if you don't know about it. I'm assuming it's available from all good newsagents. And a good thing about this particular issue is it's got the ever great Dave Webster in it. Look at that cheeky wee mug. He's in the section called Collector's Corners. Basically people that have got rare games. So yeah, that's my first pickup. Always enjoy reading that. Good couple hours read. But anyway, on to the games, guys. Another quick drink. As I say, I've picked up a few things. I'll start with the N64. I only picked up one N64 game recently. I'm running quite low on N64, to be honest. I'm running quite low on all my games. I've only got a handful for each system. I'm desperately wanting. Things like the Mega Drive and the SNES and that I'll just pick up if I see them. But anyway, I'm fucking rambling on here like a fucking old tea wifey. The game is Robotron. Robotron 64, in fact. It's, what can I say about this game? You either love Robotron or you don't, and if you don't, you're in the minority. This is a great version, much better than the PlayStation version that came out around the same time. That was actually a zoomed in, not so much a zoomed in view, but you couldn't see the full playing field, and it was terrible. But this is a fantastic game, very very addictive. Uses the C buttons to shoot, which is a great setup for a controller, similar to say Smash TV on the Super Nintendo. Excuse me. But yeah, really happy with that. I picked up one NES game, or NES, if you're American. I'm sticking by my philosophy of only buying 20 NES games. That is not, well, sort of 20 NES games. It's sort of, kind of, I'm counting like say the Zelda games as one game, and as well as the Super Mario Brothers 1, 2 and 3 as one game as well. But anyway, so the game I picked up is Track and Field 2. I have a slight addiction to the track and field games for some reason. Along with pinball games, I love them. I think they're fantastic games. I've always liked the old button mashers. And this one's actually pretty interesting because it's full of events that aren't on your regular style track and field games, like your hurdles, your 100 metres. This has got canoeing, taekwondo, the the horse thing where you vault. So yeah, that's pretty good. It's actually a pretty good, beautiful graphics actually for the NES. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that's one game down out of my 20. 2 DS games now. I must admit, I really don't get along with the DS. The only reason I have one is because I bought one for my mum-in-law 5 years ago and she's never ever played it. And then she bought a tablet and got addicted to Candy Crush. So I said to her, I'm just taking your DS. So I keep watching Tino777 Rob's videos to try and get some inspiration, but I don't see many DS games out and about, to be honest. The only ones I see are all your shitty usual things. I quite like the Layton games and that, but anyway. So the 2 games I picked up from Game, I think they were 2 for a £5, was International Track and Field. Again, because I love track and field style games. Bit disappointed with this one though. It uses a stylus instead of banging the buttons. I don't think it works very well. Good selection of events. It's 24 I think, aye, so there's a good selection of events. The weightlifting one's always good in that, but I don't know, I'm not really getting on with it. And another game which I loved is, for me, if I only played one game on the DS, this has probably been the game I would be happier to have played, and that is Alien Festation. And recently, a new subscriber to me and a new subscriber to him is Retro Chef, right mate? He recently picked this up on, again, Tino777's recommendation. He harped on about this game for months and months and months, and Rob, you are correct. I bought this game on a Friday and I had it finished by like Saturday morning. I just could not put it down. It was fantastic. It's how old retro games should be done in this current generation. Well, not the DS is current generation, but you know what I mean. It's beautifully done, great atmosphere. Just loved it. Highly, highly recommended. And I think every game shop has got it for like a £5, so it's definitely worth picking up. PlayStation now, and quite a sad story this actually. I was in a charity shop in a town not anywhere near where I live. I just happened to pop in, said to the woman, do you have any games? And she says, oh, I don't think so, we've maybe got a couple across there. So there were just a couple PS2 sports games. And I said, do you have anything older? She said, what do you mean? And I was like PlayStation 1, Nintendo, Super Nintendo. Well, I don't think so, but you're welcome to go through the back and have a look. So I went through the back, couldn't find anything, and then at the top of a pile of boxes, bags, things like that, I found these 2 PlayStation 1 games. Silent Hill, Black Label, in beautiful condition, and Metal Gear Solid, Black Label, beautiful condition. And the story behind that was that they were actually going to be put in the bin. So I said to the woman, what's happening with them? She says, oh, we just throw them out. Who buys games like that nowadays? And I'm like, what? She says, oh, we get them in all the time and we just fling them straight in the bin. So it almost brought a tear to my ears. She also said that she just flung out a load of old games that her sons used to play with. And I was like, when did you do this? She says, oh, just the other week as well. I don't think anybody was interested in them. So fuck knows what she threw out, but she probably could have made a couple £100 by what she said to me. So it's really a shame. I assumed everyone knew that retro was worth money, but it just shows you guys that there are people out there that don't know. So if you're in any charity shops or that, as Tootie UK always says, ask the question. You don't know until you ask. But I'm really pleased to pick up Metal Gear Solid. This is one of my favourite games. I play it usually once a year, but to be honest, I've always just played a copied version. So it's good to have the original version. And Black Label as well. Right, sticking with Nintendo, I managed to pick up 2 GameCube games, which is Hunky Dory, both Resident Evils, and it's Resident Evil 1, the remake, and Resident Evil 0. I actually had both of these games last year, and I don't know what's happened to them. I've got disc 2 of each of them, but I can't find the boxes in disc 1, so I don't know what fucking happened to them. So it's kind of, I'm glad I found them. They were both £1, if you can see that, because the type of games where I've played them. I played this one several times, and I did enjoy this one, but I wouldn't pay like eBay prices, because I think they go for roughly between £8 and £10, I think. So I wouldn't really like to pay £10 to have them back in my collection, because the chances of me playing them again, maybe this one, not so much this one, but for £1 each, on the off chance, just in case I decide to take a notion, I'm happy to pay for it. 2 PSP games. These were £1 each. I'm not sure where I got them from for, but I don't pay more than £1 for my PSP games, so they're definitely £1 each. First one is God's Eater Burst. This actually looks like a really good game, but I've not played it yet. I've just not got around to it. It looks like almost like a hack and slash type game. Lovely animation looking. It looks pretty good. Japan's million selling series, so it must be pretty popular. But it looks pretty good. So I will get around to playing that. One game I have played quite a bit actually is Ultimate Ghouls and Ghosts. I recently saw that Lee, Pewmeister General, picked this up, and I've got mixed feelings about it. It's still got the feeling of Ghouls and Ghosts, but I don't know, I just feel like the viewpoint is just a little bit close for my liking. But the PSP is not ideal for any type of game, to be honest. I don't think the analog stick works out very well. But it's good. It is. I have enjoyed it. It was definitely worth picking up for £1. It is hard thought. I mean, I totally suck at Ghouls and Ghosts and Ghosts and Goblins, but I just can't seem to get it very far in this game. But I really did. I'm really glad I bought it. Man of Action, no, maybe. Aye, so that's Ghouls and Ghosts. Anyway, I'll have a quick drink because my throat's getting dry. Picked up one Wii game. I'm slowing down on the Wii games. I've just hit 100. I'm looking up there because that's where they are. Just hit 100 Wii games, and I know what you're thinking. Is there 100 good Wii games? And yes, there is. Every Wii game I've got is an absolute belter. But anyway, so I've only got 6 or 7 I think I need left. And that's me finished my collecting. One game I've been after for a long time, and I've looked everywhere for it. I've never seen it, and just out of the blue I popped into Game one day, and there it was for £3 I think, which was a bargain. And that's A Shadow's Tale. This is the Wii's version of Ico, if anyone's played Ico from Ico and the Shadow of the Colossus series. Beautiful game. You basically play a shadow and you're in the background as opposed to the foreground, and it's sort of just like a platformer where you run from the left to the right, like your Pandemoniums and type thing. But bloody hell, oh my gassy. But it's just beautiful looking. It's wonderful atmosphere. There's not much happens in it. It's very sort of ambient sounds. It's quite that good. Quite an atmospheric game. Highly recommended though. It's really good. If you see it, pick it up. As I say, it's just like Ico. Well, it's not really just like Ico, but it's got a similar feel to Ico. So yep, that's Shadow's Tale. Highly recommended. Right, Sega Saturn. I've only picked up one Saturn game. I really struggle to buy Saturn games because I grew up with the Saturn. It was my favourite console until the Dreamcast came along. So I've played 90% of the games on it. I've owned them all in the past, and I just can't bring myself to pay the money for the games now, even though they're good games. I have a strict £3 limit on games. I don't pay more than £3 apart from one here that I'm about to show you. So the chances of me finding Saturn games for less than £3 are very, very slim. But I did find Virtua Racing. Great racing game, really, really good. Obviously it's not as good as Sega Rally, Daytona and things like that, but I really enjoy it. It's just fun game to fire on for 5 minutes. I got this for £2 at a local retro shop, so I'm really happy to get that. Good nick as well. Doesn't have too much of the wobble. It's the wobble as Scott likes to say. So yeah, got a wee bit of sticker residue to get off it still, but pretty happy with that. So that's Virtua Racing. 2 3DO games, and this was one game where I've been after for months and months and months. I'm almost finished my 3DO collection again. I've only got 2 or 3 games I want for it. This was one of them. It can be quite an expensive game. It is Captain Quasar. It's that isometric run and gun. It's a pretty good game actually, it's pretty fun. But it can go, there's a few copies on eBay at the moment. In fact, there's one copy on eBay for £60. And I've seen it go a few times for between £30 and £40. It doesn't come up very often. So when this came up as an auction, I was like, oh, I put in my usual £1 bid, like I do for most of my games. And I got outbid right away. So I thought, what am I going to do? So I decided to dig deep in the old Scottish wallet of mine, and I managed to win it for £8.56. Tell me about it. Oh, I'm coming out in a sweat just thinking about it again. That is by far the most I've ever spent on a game in the last 10 years. If I tell a lie, 8 years. Because I used to, I'll not go into this. But yeah, so that's the. It was the only one bonus though about buying it was I got another game pretty much for free. That is Psychic Detective. Another great little game. I've recently, well not recently, but when I bought this, I just watched Vampire Mike, aka Sega CD Universe. He had done a sort of his mini review on it, and it just looked like a great game. It's an FMV game, but you have the ability to mind jack people and see from their point of view, and you have to solve like the murder in a house, like a murder mystery. It's pretty good, but that was flung in for free because that never got sold for some reason in the seller's other auctions. So I was glad I picked up that, and extra glad I picked up Captain Quasar. Really glad to add this to the collection. If you see it cheap, pick it up. It's a pretty good game. It's very old school, but it's pretty good fun. Right, another quick drink. Should have said this is going to be a long one. Obviously it's a couple months worth. Picked up a couple of Xbox games. In fact, I picked up more than a couple of Xbox games, but I won't bore you with all of them. 2 sort of uncommon ones. Classified, The Sentinel Crisis. Now, I've never actually seen this out in the wild, and when I did see it, I was very surprised to see it for 50p. And I bought it without even looking at the back, because I had been looking for it for a while. And I thought it was a puzzle game, for some reason. I don't know why, but it's actually a first-person shooter. And it's alright. It's very much the Xbox generation of shooters. But it's got quite nice graphics. The levels are a little bland. But it's alright. I'm going to say it's good. Another game I'd been after for a long time. Probably around 5 years. Again, I had never ever seen it out in the wild. And when I seen it, my wee face lit up. 50p again, which was an absolute bargain. And that's Castlevania Curse of Darkness. This was the only Castlevania game for the Xbox. The PS2 had 2 or 3. Lamnant of Innocence was another one. I can't remember if it was the third one. Someone else I'm sure will be able to tell me. But yeah, pretty good game. 3D Castlevania. Obviously everyone knows how they are. Not certainly as good as the last 2D lots of Castlevania. But it's pretty good. Pretty big. good old sort of hack and slash type game. This is in beautiful condition, brand new condition, so I'm really pleased to pick it up. It's certainly one that's been on my list for a while, as I said. So yeah, so that was my Xbox. Couple PS2 games now. One game that I had never heard anything about, I'd never played any of them, and that is Naruto Ultimate Warrior. I hadn't played any of these or Dragon Ball Z games or any type of game like that. I don't know if they're part of the same family or that. I just don't know. But I just seen this and it just looked pretty good. I like the cell shaded graphics on the back. I thought it was a 2D fighter, but it's more like a Power Strike. Not Power Strike. What's it fucking called? Power Stone! Power Stone style game on the Dreamcast where you could go on different planes and jump around and things like that. And it's pretty good. I quite enjoyed it actually. Although it does seem a tad basic. It seems to only be one punch button, well, one action button. So then you could just fucking pummel a cunt in the face and that's it. But, so, if anyone knows differently, feel free to let me know how to do all the moves. I could do the super moves, but there's just a case of pressing one button again. But yeah, it's pretty good. I'm quite enjoying it. And the shooter for the PS2, which is a great package, and it's 1945 version 1 and 2. Now this is a type of game that I'm sure when this was released, it's by Play It, which if anyone knows, they do budget games. So this was probably a budget game, 20 quid on release, and I bet they must have sold a couple of hundred copies at best. But as a retro fan looking back, this was an absolute bargain. This was two great games on one disc. How could you say no? I think that's what's brilliant about not only retro gaming but just hindsight in general. Games back then, back in the day when they first came out, that were deemed poor. A lot, certainly on the PlayStation and Sega Saturn, that they said, oh, it's not pushing the 3D capabilities of the system and things like that. 2D games are old hat and that. They're the games now that are the most playable. They've aged the best and they're just highly accessible in today's market. So 1945, really great shooters. I've gotten right into my shooters over a past couple months. I never used to like shooters at all, but I don't know why. I just love them now. Probably blame Lloyd and Soft Otaku. And finally, my wife, my good lady, the beautiful creature that she is, she was going to America to train others. They've opened up another branch for a company that she works for, and she was going across to train them. She's much smarter than me, obviously. I'm only with her for her money. She's only with me for my big penis and model-like looks. But because she was going to go away for a few weeks, she decided to treat me to a little present. And it's a system. Some of you might have seen it in my last video, peeking up in the corner there. And it's a system I've hawed and hummed about for definitely a year, if not two. I'll just quickly show you what it is. It's a Neo Geo CD. And this is a long-winded story, so I'll try and not bore you too much. But I love Neo Geo games, I really do. I first discovered Neo Geo on my Dreamcast when you could emulate some of the games on it. But that is alright up to a point. In my eyes, you cannot emulate Neo Geo games. I don't care what it's on, even if it's on that new Neo Geo X. Something is always missing, whether it's the sound, some of the graphics, some of this. I know the Dreamcast versions have got a lot of slowdown. Even on my Neo Geo game for the Xbox, not the Xbox, on the Wii, Neo Geo Classic selection, they still slowed down on that. So I really wanted an AES, but me being Scottish, me being a tight bastard, chances of me finding AES games for £3 nigh on impossible. So I came to the conclusion that I wasn't going to buy any AES. So this was the next logical step. And they can be quite expensive still to buy in this country. They range from about £150 to £180. But this is actually a PAL version. You see that? Didn't actually realise they released any in PAL. It's numbered actually. Let's see if it's got a number. Definitely got a number. Oh, this is number 130. So goodness knows how many got released in the PAL territories. But yeah, so I'd basically seen this on eBay, and my good lady decided to pay for it, bid on it and pay for it, and we got it for £84 I think, which I feel was a bit of a bargain. Came with 3 games. First one is Aggressors of Dark Combat. Really good fighting game. It's not quite as good as say the King of Fighters or that, but it's pretty good, it's pretty fun. Got a few cracking special moves on it, like super moves that fill up the whole screen and things like that. So beautiful graphics. Another fighting game, but unfortunately no cover, is the King of Fighters 94. I don't really know why I'm holding it up because you can't fucking see it. But pretty good. But the King of Fighters series, all fighters on the Neo Geo suffer from loading, but I'll talk about that in a second. And finally a shooter, Alpha Mission 2. Well, I've read on the internet, a lot of people give this game quite a bit of stick. They say it's a pretty piss poor shooter, but in my eyes, even poor shooters are still good fun games to play. And I quite like this. There's a bit of skill involved. You could pick up, not only can you upgrade your weapons and that, but you could downgrade them as well. So there's a bit of skill to try and avoid all the downgrades and that fly about the screen. So yeah, so I guess I'm quite happy with it. I quite enjoy it. I could get quite far. I think there's 7 levels. You get to level 6 or something like that. But yeah, so the Neo Geo, to be honest, I am exceptionally happy with it. Like most bad consoles, the internet tends to exaggerate their down points, like the Panasonic, like the Jaguar, like the Saturn for instance. I mean, there's good games from all, and obviously the big down point to this system is the loading times. On games that aren't fighters, the loading times are fine in my eyes. They're no different. The only difference really is that when the game loads up, for instance Alpha Mission, the game loads up, comes up loading and a loading bar, and you have to sit and watch that for like a minute, and you might think, well, that takes forever to load. But if you can take, say, a PlayStation game that has to go through the PlayStation logo, the Sony Entertainment thing, then it comes up the developers credits, then the publishers credits and all that, that's over a minute. In fact, well over a minute. Whereas these games, they just come up, now loading, bish bash bosh, and then it's straight into the game. So I don't think the loading's that bad. Saying that though, the fighters are terrible. They load before a match, during a match, after a match. If you sneeze during a match, it loads. So, and obviously if you buy a Neo Geo, you expect to play the fighters. They're the game, the console that is most famous for. But I'm not a huge fighting game fan. I do enjoy them, but I'm not a huge fan. So it's the other Neo Geo games that I enjoy. A lot of the platformers, Metal Slugs, things like that. So they're the games I'm going to be concentrating on. So that's the start of my Neo Geo collection. 3 little games, great system. So yeah, so that's my pickups, guys. One last drink. Hope it wasn't too long for you. I've never had anyone say that to me before. But yeah, so there you go. I don't think I'll be picking up a huge amount over the next month. I've got so much to do in this house. I'm fucking knackered, to be honest. But again, I've got my room tour coming soon. I'm just sorting out all my stuff. I'm trying to get it all nice and tidy for you guys. But I had a count up. I managed to get everything out boxes, and I've had a count up, and I'm ashamed to admit that I've got over 1,400 games. I had no idea I had that many. It's a crazy amount. You see you think, oh, I've got 50 for this console, I've got 40 for that console and that, but it soon all adds up. But, so I think I'm going to have to slim down. In fact, I know I'm going to have to slim down. But, we'll wait and see. I actually think I've got quite good quality over quantity. Oh, I've just fucking noticed here on my shelf. Final Xbox game I picked up, actually. Another shooter. I totally forgot I had it. I actually paid £3 for this, which was my most expensive Xbox game ever. But it did come all the way from Japan. And it's in Japanese, so I can't even remember the title. But it is, I'm sure it's Shigami Shiryo Sololop. It's a selection of shooters that is spread over several platforms. It was on the PlayStation, Xbox. The third version was on the Wii. I'm sure you could download it on the Xbox 360 or that. It's an average shooter, to be honest. It's nowhere near as good as, say, the Gunbirds or Giga Wings or anything like that, in my eyes. But it's still pretty good. It is only one of 3 shooters for the original Xbox, and none of them came out in PAL, so it was good to get this. Aye, so I totally forgot about that game. I played it like non-stop for like a week, and I finished it on one of the highest levels. That is bonkers though. It gets ridiculous, but there's unlimited continues, so it's hard not to sort of crack on. But anyway, so that's Shigami Shigami. Yeah, very very fluent in Japanese. I can barely fucking speak English, let alone Japanese. Anyway, thanks guys for checking this video out. As I say, my room tour is coming soon. Not that it's anything special, and collection videos coming soon. Take it easy guys, and I'll see you soon.